tomorrow marks 5 weeks or a month, I suppose it is now, since we all crammed into that office. It seems to be how every Tuesday is. But the days now are becoming slight effort and seem to be consistent, as I've said, in the written form, in the blog, and in other videos probably that. It's a case now of waking up, coffee, watching stuff, reading my book, trying to do some writing, eat at some point, walk around the house. I seem to be in and out of the toilet constantly every day. You don't need to know that, but and then next you know it's getting dark about 8:15 now, and the days are getting longer, of course. And then you go to bed at some point. Last night I actually went to bed a little bit earlier than I have done, something like half midnight, 1 o'clock, which is about 2 hours earlier than what I usually do. And yeah, I still woke about 8, 9ish. I can't sleep properly. And repeat. And you wonder to yourself just how much more of this you can take. It seems to be now, I'm not going to bother with the daily briefing today, but I don't most days to be fair, but it's 3 more weeks of lockdown. It seems like the Prime Minister is now in contact with the cabinet, so it looks like he's on the mend, but he fears a second wave, which I can't say with blame. In Japan seems to be on the verge of a second and worse wave because their lockdown measures have been somewhat skew-whiff from what I understand, or at least they haven't really bothered. Both us and the Americans have been criticised for taking too long. That delightful chap, Piers Morgan, has been on CNN yesterday saying about his mate Donald Trump, and they are friends because he did the Celebrity Apprentice and then was a judge, and I suppose Morgan's the kind of person that would appeal to Trump. But Morgan decided that he was going to give some advice to old Donald, and you know, taking it seriously and all this stuff about the virus, and if you want to be re-elected in November, which is probably going to happen anyway, yeah, you know, stop pandering to whatever. The trouble is, you know, he's doing it on CNN, which the president does watch, or at least is aware of what they say. You know, they're a failing news network, they're fake news, they're the enemy of the people, they're full of liars and, you know, discredited people and all this stuff. But by doing so, I would imagine Mr. Morgan has now been excommunicated from Club Trump. The president needs to be surrounded by yes men who know how to operate a sketchbook. But that's not the issue. Morgan says that both leaders, Boris and Trump, are useless, basically, so I suppose so. But the Prime Minister's trying, or tried. Yes, he did that thing with the handshakes, but but the nature of it is despite the fact you get in touch with people, or they get in touch with you, it is a wretchedly lonely existence. As I've said before, there's no one else in this flat, there's not even a cat. Don't speak to downstairs as such, because of the isolation, I'd imagine. They don't sit out. I don't like to, if they're sitting outside in the garden, I'll stay away from the windows, in case they think I'm just being nosy or something. And also you can hear them doing their fitness thing. I've never heard woot woops more this much since I did my training on the tour buses. And if you're watching Soccer, you know who you are. As a joke. But I've been away from London now a month, which is not the end of the world, but some that know me know that I like London on my days off anyway from the tour job, because it didn't always work on my work days. Bizarrely just to unwind or whatever, though after the attack on New Year's Eve, New Year's morning 2017-18 has altered how I view London a little and how I go about London. And you know, for all my tube hopping, I do get nervous being on the tube still, especially if it's underground or there's no one else around and someone, that lone nutter, decides to sit near you. But you know, there was one day at work, May, June time, I was going to Waterloo after work for some reason, and sat in Pret a couple of times. You can look down on the concourse, And despite all the thousands of people down there, it was reassuring. And you know, there've been times after I went off to, I finished a lot earlier once than I thought I would. I think I did one tour that day, or 2 tours, and they let us go early. And I went up to Covent Garden for the London Transport Museum, and then out through King's Cross, I think. You know, I usually would go to Swiss Cottage, which was problematic financially anyway. I've not been this long away from London since 2018, maybe 2017. I was usually, even at M&S, averaging a trip to London a month, sometimes 2 if I was lucky. Does it matter? I don't know. You know, if you've seen one of my tour guide quickie vids, I'll talk about the tube hopping, and I would have done that list up no end just by using the tube for work, and until I find a girl that's willing enough to take this mess on, I'm laughing. Well, I don't know. I still don't understand dating apps. Before the weekend, I joined 2 other apps on top of Bumble and Tinder, and it's just the same shit, isn't it? It's incredible the sheer amount of photos that are of a certain fent, and I like the profile I came across from some girl who, you know, at the top bit where it says I think it's Hinge, it said you know, you got prearranged sections you can put in, and you can put in we can get on if, and this girl just put you're not a Tory. My mate Hayden from Marks and Spencer's, who I'm not sure if he still is at Marks and Spencer's, he left to be a manager, and he reckoned I look more Jewish than he does. He is Jewish, and said to me once I should do J-Date, and I said you actually have to be Jewish to do that website. It's a prerequisite, like, you know, the single Muslim dating website, which kept getting flogged at me on YouTube a couple of years ago, weirdly enough, or uniformed dating. Apparently because I was at M&S, it considered it as a uniform, whereas it was for police, nurses and firemen and all this stuff. Anyway, he said you look Jewish, so it would work. I'm not on J-Date, by the way, and I've never joined it, for those wondering. It's all well and dandy going to, I've been told about social groups, and what are you interested in, Matt? Well, I like history now. Well, there's got to be a history group somewhere. Yeah. I know of someone who's met and married off a dating website, and I really would love to know how it works. You told, oh, got a message and all this stuff if we match, and I would call it courtesy, but then I'm a flaming idiot. But you message and nothing back, not even a thank you very much, or no, we'll let you know and stuff. I'm not a Sam Malone, so I can't waltz around. I'm not my dear friend Mark, who could talk to anyone and get on with them. I'm just a simple idiot. No, you're always putting yourself down. Yes, but self-deprecating humour and me are very firmly together. I started it when I was at school, when I was being bullied, and it's so firmly ingrained in my psyche, it's not going anywhere whether or not I try. And yeah, when I was being bullied at secondary school especially, I acquired this deflection in my head of doing a German accent for reasons I still don't know, and it eased things a little. You know, I talked to myself maybe, or others, and I gave it a slight rasping accent. It wasn't a full-on accent. I don't know why, probably because of all the history books and now I was reading. So that's your lot gungered in. All 5 of you. I watched those flaming dog videos from that the Times was writing about on Saturday about, you know, this file, everyone going on YouTube and the BBC and ITV rugby / sports commentators commentating on their dog chasing each other and they're getting hundreds of thousands of views and whatnot, and they're both saying, oh well, there goes my broadcasting career, I'm getting more praise for this than I did when I worked at Wimbledon or whatever. For anyone who, I mean, the internet's a wonderful thing. If people can get wind that somebody's son wants to see them and have a birthday message recorded or whatever, this surely can get this. Some of what I've said can surely get to the likes of Christopher Plummer and George Seagal and I would say Shatner, but as much as I love William Shatner, I've idolised a man in a way. Well, I did when I was very younger. He's too busy a chap, and he would not want to. Also, I should have been keeping it updated in my blog, saying that the blog as well, I wrote about it, but all of this is a week and a half, and I usually, when I was at work, I would shave on my days off, so every 4 days, because I would cut myself to ribbons during the week, and I got told once I had to have no facial hair, and I went home and I was left with cuts all over. I looked like I'd been in Croydon or something. So and it's got flaming white here, and there's white hair, and look at this. Honestly, I think that's past the tip of my flaming nose now. I loved Grizzly Adams when I was about 6 years old, and when the actor who played him, whose name has slipped from my mind tragically, Don something, he was but I loved that chap when I was little. So this is not exactly, my mum is determined to cut the hair, because apparently it's going to be down my back. It looks browner in this filter, doesn't it? And that's something else about those dating websites. What is this filter stuff on people's faces? Is it that Snapchat thing? Yeah, I'm talking to you at the back there. Well then. On that bombshell, off we go.